Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. We got a news story for you today. We are talking about the SEC banned stablecoins, primarily BUSD. I think this is a direct attack on Binance that we're seeing right now. However, it's being performed in a bit of a roundabout way. We're going to be talking about what's going on. We're going to cover this news story. What does this mean for us as cryptocurrency investors? I'm going to share with you exactly what steps I'm taking and some of the steps that I actually took this morning. I'm going to cover all of that in this video. First things first, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Crypto Wealth. I believe in the future of cryptocurrency, and I believe this technology is going to change the world. I have also always believed that governments would not support true decentralized blockchain technology. And I think we're seeing this happen right now because I think this is actually going to be a greater attack. I think this is just the first part of it. And in fact, just 2 days ago, I did this video here talking about some rumors that the SEC was going after stablecoins. And I think that this is part confirmation for what we're seeing happening today. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, buckle up, because it's possible that we're going to see more attacks, possibly on USDC. So we just need to stay tuned for that to see what's going to ultimately happen. But here's the truth: it creates a lot of short to medium term uncertainty in the cryptocurrency markets, and it has a lot of people concerned. A lot of people are asking why, what's going on here. It's not very clear. Is Binance going to be insolvent? Is this going to cause Binance to collapse? Who really actually knows the full picture, the full story? But I think as cryptocurrency investors, you sort of have to try to be prepared for a little bit of everything. So I'm going to share with you what's going on with this news story and what I am doing personally. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not financial advice. I'm a cryptocurrency YouTuber. I'm a cryptocurrency enthusiast. I am not a financial advisor. But as someone who pays a lot of attention to this space, I don't mind sharing with you my personal thoughts, but these are my personal thoughts. You have to make your own personal financial decisions. So let's take a look at what's going on, and then let's cover this news stories directly about Paxos. So CZ on Binance tweeted a few hours ago. He said, basically, let's see. In summary, BUSD is issued and redeemed by Paxos. We were informed by Paxos that they've been directed to cease minting new BUSD by the New York Department of Financial Services. Paxos is regulated by the New York Department of Financial Services. BUSD is a stablecoin wholly owned and managed by Paxos. As a result, BUSD market cap will only decrease over time. Paxos will continue to service the product and manage redemptions. Paxos also assured us the funds are safe and fully covered by reserves in their banks, with their reserves audited many times by various audit firms. On the alleged SEC versus Paxos lawsuit, I have no information about it other than public news articles. The lawsuit is between the U.S. SEC and Paxos. I am not an expert on U.S. law, but personally, I agree with Miles' logic here. We will get back to this here in a moment. He goes on to say, if BUSD is ruled as a security by the courts, it will have a profound impact on how the crypto industry will develop or not develop in the jurisdictions where it is ruled as such. Binance will continue to support BUSD for the foreseeable future. We do foresee users migrating to other stablecoins over time, and we will make product adjustments accordingly. For example, moving away from using BUSD as the main pair for trading, etc. Given the ongoing regulatory uncertainty in certain markets, we will be reviewing other projects in those jurisdictions to ensure our users are insulated from any undue harm. And then Abdul says here, why not go for another issuer? Why not go for another issuer? I want to talk about this here a little bit later as well. I want to break down what I think CZ is saying here. This is really a lot of PR communication. There's a lot of messages here in each one, kind of underlying tone that I just want to kind of go through each one of these. First things first. He comes out and says, in summary, BUSD is issued and redeemed by Paxos. All funds are safe. The very first message, all funds are safe. Safe who? It's always nerve-wracking when we see this now, because this is always a telltale sign in crypto. At least it has been for a while now. When someone says, don't worry, the funds are safe, the funds are safe. Usually they're not safe. Now in this case, maybe and hopefully they are. But CZ is also saying, hey, BUSD is not issued by Binance. Most people don't realize that Paxos actually has a white label program where they allow people to create their own branded stablecoin. So BUSD is just the name of a product that's actually owned and redeemed by Paxos. Paxos is the one that's supposed to, they're the ones that issue the product, and they're the ones that supposedly have it backed by one-to-one by USD reserves. So here in the second message, when he talked about the BUSD is wholly owned and managed by Paxos, I think he's just basically restating that, and he's letting everyone know that, hey, Paxos is in New York, and the New York Department of Financial Services is going after them. So this little sentence here, as a result, BUSD market cap will only decrease over time. I think he's just telling everyone up front, don't panic. It's expected at this point. We're not panicked. This doesn't have anything to do with us. We expect the market cap to go down over time. Paxos will continue to service a product and manage redemption. So this is where he's coming out and saying, hey, Paxos is managing this, and they're saying that they're fully covered by reserves in their banks, and they're saying that they've been audited many times by audit firms. So again, he's trying to reassure the public based on what he knows about Paxos. Now, this is where we start to get, this gets very interesting. So allegedly, the whole issue is BUSD is an unregistered security. Now, there's more to this story because Paxos has more than BUSD that they put out. But BUSD is what this lawsuit allegedly is naming. And that somehow BUSD, a stablecoin, is a security. So the challenge is, historically, the Supreme Court established 4 criteria to determine whether something is a security. Here it says investment contract, but for the purposes of this video, we're using investment contract and security interchangeably. So the Supreme Court established 4 criteria to determine whether a security exists. A security it has to meet these 4 criteria, not one of these criteria. It's supposed to meet all 4 of these criteria. One is an investment of money. Arguably, when you invest in BUSD, are you making an investment with money? I mean, I would say it's not really an investment. You're just exchanging one value for another, and you're trying to hold a stable value. I don't know that. I mean, when you buy dollars, if most people switch if you're traveling to Europe and you switch your BUSD to euros, would you call that an investment? Unless you're like an actual currency trader trying to profit. I don't know that you consider holding euros as an investment or holding dollars as an outright investment. So does that make the act of trading BUSD as an investment? But that's altogether different. So is BUSD in and of itself an investment of money? I mean, yeah, you're making an investment, but is that really, are you really making an investment when you buy BUSD? That's the challenge I have. But let's go with that one. Let's say, yes, it's an investment of money. Okay. Point number 2, it's an investment of money in a common enterprise. So this typically is like an investment pool. So if you're putting funds in a common enterprise, another company or brokerage account, when you invest in BUSD, are you really pulling your funds together for some purpose? I mean, maybe. Again, I still think this one's kind of weak, but okay, let's go with it. Let's say 1 and 2 is a yes. Number 3, it has to be an investment of money in a common enterprise. Number 3, with the expectation of profit. So you have to invest your money. Typically, they're talking about an investment pool. Do you invest your money into an investment pool of some sort? And are you doing it with other people, common enterprise? And are you expecting to earn a profit by doing it? Well, if you buy nobody's expecting to earn a profit with BUSD. You're just buying BUSD to not lose money is the idea behind it. So I would say number 3 is clearly a no. Number 4, so here we go. It's an investment of money in a common enterprise or pool with the expectation of profit. And look at number 4, to be derived from the efforts of others. What this is typically meaning here is that there's some fund manager. Excuse me. There's some centralized authority who is responsible for doing something with those funds to generate a profit, like an investment manager, for example, or hedge fund manager would be, that person. So if they're doing that, then it's considered a security and it has to be registered with the SEC. So it has to be an investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profit to be derived from the efforts of others. Listen, I think number 3 and definitely number 4 is a no for BUSD. I mean, no one is investing in BUSD with the expectation of profit, and nothing's happening. No one's no one's like managing those funds in any way, shape, or form. Number 4, if they consider BUSD if they're actually going to consider BUSD as security, we've got a whole lot of problems in the area of finance outside of just cryptocurrency. But if they consider BUSD a security, then that essentially means all stablecoins are a security. Here's what's interesting about this. This appears to be an attack on Binance. And a lot of people are saying, oh, the government really was looking out for Sam Bankman-Fried. He invested with all these, he donated to all these congressmen. 1 in 3 congressmen received a donation from Sam Bankman-Fried or his company or his COO. So this is basically the government lashing out at Binance, trying to create instability with Binance. First of all, I don't think this is going to cause an instability with Binance. I think Binance is essentially shielded here because Paxos actually owns this product. And let's look at the actual news story about Paxos. My bigger question is what's next and why? Are there in fact other stablecoin Wells notices going out? Is the SEC quote unquote going to bring charges against other companies, lawsuits against other stablecoin issuers? This is going to get very, very interesting. Here's what the news story about this came out, and it said that Paxos terminates partnership with Binance and stops minting BUSD. In other words, it's not going to issue any more BUSD. Paxos ends its relationship with Binance, but there's something very interesting in this story. Watch this. Paxos maintains that customer safety has always been its top priority, and this will not change in the wake of the recent announcement. The firm said BUSD stablecoin will continue to be fully supported by Paxos, with all BUSD tokens issued issued backed 1-to-1 with US dollar reserves held in segregated accounts. Okay, this is coming directly from Paxos, not CZ at Binance. Paxos Trust Company, a regulated entity overseen by the New York Department of Financial Services and audited by a top 4 accounting firm, will continue to manage the BUSD dollar reserves. For customers looking for alternative options, listen to this. The stablecoin issuer will redeem funds in US dollars or convert BUSD tokens to the Pax dollar, another regulated US dollar backed stablecoin. This will not impact Paxos' ability to service customers, continue growing its staff, or fund its operations. So here they're saying the Pax dollar is fine because it's regulated. First of all, how exactly is the Pax dollar regulated? That's what I want to know. I feel like, again, I oftentimes feel like PR companies write some of these news articles, but another US dollar backed stablecoin. So they can't use BUSD, which keep in mind, the only difference in the Pax dollar and the BUSD, as far as we know, let's just say they have a million Pax dollars and they have 2 million BUSD. The 2 million BUSD they issued is essentially this, as far as we know, the exact same thing as the Pax dollar, just under a different name. So you got to ask yourself, what is going on here? And I think this is where some of the conspiracies come out about this is an attack on Binance. In fact, the company is said to remain dedicated to becoming the global leader in blockchain tokenization infrastructure. It aims to continue providing faster, safer, fairer, and more efficient financial services to global enterprises. See what I mean? It sounds like it's written by a PR campaign working for Paxos. Regulatory pressure on the rise. Okay, here's starts to get interesting. Paxos has reportedly received a letter from the Security and Exchange Commission indicated that the agency intends to sue the company for violating investor protection laws. See, we need to know more about this because how can they say, hey, don't worry, we'll put it in the Pax dollar, but we can't issue any more BUSD, but yet we know that they received this letter from the Securities and Exchange Commission. This move is part of the SEC's growing campaign in crypto enforcement as the agency intensifies its focus on major players in the crypto market. Again, I have a problem with this quote unquote crypto enforcement. The SEC is supposed to be protecting the individual investors like you and I. What is holding a stablecoin? How are they protecting us by going after stablecoins? Of all the places, of all the theft that does exist in crypto, they're going after stablecoins, arguably the one thing that is safe for us and prevents us from losing funds. I mean, a lot of us would have never been a victim of a rug pull if we'd have just been holding our funds in stablecoins. I mean, it does leave you scratching your head. Listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't go that far per se, but I can say, hey, there's something here that doesn't make sense. I don't need to fill in the blank per se. I don't need to wonder what goes in the blank. Um, I do believe and I do understand, and I am of the opinion that governments are never going to be supportive of crypto, decentralized crypto, because it creates significant economic problems for companies, for countries. I'm sorry, for countries. So that's my belief there. But why this is happening, it seems pretty interesting. I want to see what's the rest of this story, and it's affected some of my investment decisions. I'll talk about those a little bit later in the video. The SEC issued a Wells notice to Paxos, which is used to inform a company or an individual of a possible enforcement action. This Wells notice, we talked about this 2 days ago in this video. This is one where I think it's believed that Circle, who issues USDC, and others may also have gotten Wells notices, but that hasn't been public yet. I mean, it looks like there may be an all-out assault on stablecoins right now, and so this is going to be interesting. According to sources familiar with the matter, the notice alleges that the Binance BUSD digital asset that Paxos issues and lists is an unregistered security. Again, how can BUSD be an unregistered security, but the Paxos dollar is not? I don't understand this. Binance and Paxos announced the partnership to launch BUSD in 2019, and the digital asset exchange run by Paxos, ItBit, also lists BUSD alongside many other cryptocurrencies. Okay. The specific details of the SEC notice are unclear, as it couldn't be determined if it is related to Paxos' issuing of the coin, the listing of the coin, or both. When asked for comment, a Paxos company spokesman stated Paxos is not commenting on any individual matter. So they're not giving us any clues here. Binance has noted that BUSD is issued and owned by Paxos, and that Binance only licensed its brand. In a statement, Binance said, "We will continue to monitor the situation." What else are you going to say? Firms that receive a Wells notice can respond. This is interesting. Firms that receive a Wells notice can respond in writing and explain to the SEC why it should not proceed with a lawsuit. The SEC's 5 commissioners must vote to authorize any enforcement settlement or litigation, and a Wells notice is not a financial indication that the SEC will take enforcement action. All right. So, and it says the stablecoin BUSD depegs just a little bit, like 0.9922 or whatever. Okay, so let's talk about this for a moment. I want to first address this right here. This individual down here says, Abdul says, why not go for another issuer? Because, first of all, I don't think people realize that there are almost no other issuers that exist that don't already have their own stablecoin. No one is out there. Well, I shouldn't say no one. Paxos obviously was. Very few. If there may not be another issuer that exists inside the U.S. Second of all, why would you want to go to an issuer inside the U.S. right now if you're Binance? Third, if you are someone who issues white label stablecoins in the US, based on what's going on, why would you be willing to do it for any other clients right now in this current environment? So I think Abdul here is just missing it. Like he doesn't understand the technical nature or the business nature or the legal consequences here. So CZ talked about here. He says we are exploring others and non-US based stablecoins. Yeah, I think that's what they're going to have to look at is non-USD based stablecoins. Now, how interesting is it that if we're customers on an exchange, we may start holding other countries' stablecoins? Isn't that interesting if you're a U.S. citizen to think that could actually start happening possibly? Who knows? We'll have to actually wait and see. I want to give my thoughts overall on the situation and what I think, and then I'm going to move into what I'm doing as a cryptocurrency investor personally. So I think this is part of a larger attack. I think this is just, kind of the second salvo, if you will, of more to come. I think, after SBF, I think it's good for politicians to come up against crypto in some way. And I think most of the regulatory agencies will. Listen, the U.S. government historically has never been friendly to anybody issuing a currency in the real world. Forget the digital world. In the real world, if you tried to issue a currency that people could truly exchange, I mean, just go Google this. And there's good reasons why this has occurred. But look up things. I think it's the Liberty Dollar, for example, that existed in New Hampshire area. I mean, the people are in prison right now for doing nothing more than saying, "Hey, I want our neighborhood, I want our state to have its own form of currency, an alternative currency." Like that is illegal to the highest degree. It's literally enforced by the Secret Service of the United States. So I've always felt like stablecoins were in somehow direct competition to a US dollar, a digital dollar. They're directly in direct competition if the government wants to issue their own USD, central bank CBDC, central bank digital currency. And we know that most countries, developed countries in the world, are working on their own central bank digital currency. Now you may be saying, how does it compete with it? Listen, the way it competes with it is because when they issue a central bank digital currency, they can increase or decrease the overall supply of that currency at will. That is what governments want to do. There's a great documentary. I recommend you Google it. Money as Debt. You can find it for free on YouTube. Money as Debt. There's two versions. Just look at the first version because version number 2 is a little bit different. But Money as Debt. It's a great animated sort of documentary. It's about 45 minutes long that talks about the creation of our current economic system, why it exists. When you see that, you'll understand why decentralized cryptocurrency is so important for citizens like you and I. But you'll at the same time you'll start to recognize why it is that the government doesn't want competition in the creation of currency. And since unfortunately we don't have there's a lot of people that are like, it's Bitcoin or nothing, or it's Ethereum or nothing, and they don't like stablecoins. I I don't care whether we have a stablecoin or not. I don't think it matters. I actually think it's good for mass adoption because people can recognize dollar for dollar value. Even if I think long term the US dollar is doomed, if that's my long term belief, and that's why I'm in crypto, it doesn't matter whether the US dollar is doomed. There's going to always be people who want to hold US dollar value. It doesn't matter if the US dollar starts going down in value by 10% a year every year. There are going to be people who want to hold US dollar values. And as long as that's the case, I think stable coins are fine from an investment standpoint. And I don't think it hurts long-term mass adoption. I think it helps long-term mass adoption. Because ideally, as stable coins go down in price, cryptos would go up in price in a perfect world. Now, with that being said, this is why I've always thought decentralized stablecoins that did not need a centralized entity to hold reserves backing the stablecoin would be the perfect solution. Unfortunately, we don't have that solution yet. Luna attempted it and they collapsed, right? We've got other options out there like Frax and DAI, and some of those are good, but they're all partially backed by centralized stablecoins. A project that's currently not doing well, but it's one that I've really liked a lot and I continue to follow is Bean.money. Bean.money is a decentralized algorithmic credit-based stablecoin. That's a mouthful, and this video isn't the time to cover exactly how the mechanics work. Currently, the mechanics aren't working. That's the bottom line at this moment. It's depegged quite a bit. There's development on it, ongoing development. So I'm still hopeful long term for that project. I've invested in that project. And I want to see that project do well or a project like it, period. Because I think a decentralized algorithmic stablecoin, if it can be created, and I think there is a way to do it, we just haven't discovered the perfect way to do it yet. I think that that will be phenomenal long term for mass adoption. And it would prevent some of this in theory. Now, where do we go from here? Well, I think there's going to be more enforcement action coming. Many of you who've watched my channel know that I'm a long-term bull. Like I believe long-term in crypto. We're talking about over years, even over decades. I've always been since 2017 when I was putting up videos. I think I bought my first cryptocurrency in 2016. I bought it because I believe long-term this crap is going to the moon. Period. But I also believe that with strong enforcement, and I've always believed we had strong enforcement coming, negative enforcement from regulators, I believe we could see prices get crushed. So you have to be prepared for that. So I always take kind of a balanced approach to my cryptocurrency investing. I put this video out 3 days ago, crypto bear market strategies. Now I think it was in this video where I talked about the thing with my crypto holdings is it is nowhere near the majority of my holdings. Nowhere near the majority of my holdings. So I'm not losing sleep on this stuff. I'm just not. And in fact, if you look at my tax returns, and I'm going to do a whole video on taxes, by the way, so stay tuned for that. But if you look at my tax returns based on my crypto portfolio, I'm down significantly from last year, just like everybody else. But I'm okay with that. Like, I got a buddy of mine, I was telling him what my crypto losses were, and he's like, what? It's not a big deal. I've never been in a position where that freaked me out because I don't have that much of my net worth in crypto. If you can't sleep right now, this is when you got to start thinking about maybe I've got too much invested in here. If this stuff is keeping you awake, if it's stressing you out, you just got too much invested. So outside the fact of I don't invest too big to stress me out, the other thing is I'm diversified. So some of the things that I've done is I still hold stable coins, but I'm not holding any one stable coin right now. And I've never held the majority of my crypto in stable coins. The majority of my crypto is in crypto. I do think the values specifically good could go down right now in the short and medium term. So this morning what I did is I actually did a kind of a synthetic short on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so what will happen is if the prices go down today and tomorrow, then I'm going to be able to make some profit. I'm probably going to close out that trade later this week or even next week. And it's just a short-term trade. My overlying portfolio is still very bullish, but I'm basically just hedging part of my portfolio. And the same thing at the same time, I'm looking to be able to make some short-term gains in which I will just use those gains, by the way, to buy more Bitcoin and more Ethereum because long term I am very, very bullish. And as I say I'm bullish, I recognize that crypto prices may tank hard. Hard. In fact, I think that one thing about me as a YouTuber, my commentary, I probably would predict that prices will go far lower than anybody else you're going to hear talking on YouTube. And as I say that, I also believe long term prices are going to go far higher than anyone else you will see commentating on YouTube. Like I am short and medium term very, very bearish, but long term extremely bullish because I think long term, the average citizens of the world, you and I are watching right now, we're learning the government overreach. How can you have the Howey test and call BUSD a security? I mean that there's all sorts of conspiracy theories about the motives, but that reeks of overreach. That is a desperate stretch. And if they are successful in calling stablecoins a security, even though they don't meet the Howey test, ladies and gentlemen, the implications of that are going to be interesting. Because I think that if they say, hey, you can't invest in stablecoins as a just say let's just say they say U.S. citizens cannot invest in stablecoins, or European citizens for that matter, Canadian citizens, you cannot. If they say that, if they say you cannot invest in stablecoins, then a lot of people are like, well, good. People will go to Bitcoin. People go to Ethereum. But the average investor is right now, the average investor is in crypto just to try to make short term gains. So I don't think if I'm sitting in BUSD or USDT and all of a sudden the government says I have to get out of stable coins, I don't think that um, the average investor is going to go into Bitcoin or Ethereum when they see the prices going down right now in the short term. Most people fear, yeah, they should be. They should be buying when prices are low, but that's not what most people do. So I think most people are going to be pulling funds out of crypto altogether into US dollars. And so that's going to probably make the drops in prices overall much, much worse should that happen. But just my thoughts and opinions right now. But again, I'm prepared in my mind when I'm investing it's how can I be right even if I'm wrong? So and that's the entire what can I do to, I still can come out ahead. And I think for me it's being long term in crypto, long term bullish in crypto. So I'm not investing for 2023 or even 2024. I'm investing for 2030, 2040, 2050. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm investing for. I'm going to be focusing a lot more on some of my free and my passive strategies to be able to earn crypto for free and build those up. I make several $100s a month right now just in passive crypto for doing almost nothing. I'm going to ramp that up and I'll probably be talking about that more on the channel as well, so you can stay tuned for that. But ladies and gentlemen, just know we are living in very interesting times. And I believe long term we're going to have blue skies. But you've got to diversify your investing. Some of you might need to divest outside of crypto if you're too uncomfortable with it for now. If prices go down, then I'm going to be a buyer. I'm always kind of dollar cost averaging. I'm always picking up additional Bitcoin, always picking up additional Ethereum. That's just what I do. Ladies and gentlemen, I love cryptocurrency and I love decentralized cryptocurrency. I believe decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments about this whole fiasco. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.